Jasper Leijfering from Amsterdam Vintage Watches is here to present our top 10 of most expensive watches. Get your wallets ready, make sure your credit card is working, because we got them lined up right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Jasper Leijfering from Amsterdam Vintage Watches.
Amazing. Love this watch.
Yes, this is quite a superficial video. At least it sounds like a superficial video. It's a little bit clickbaity. And I always hated the question, what's your most expensive watch? And usually I wouldn't do this, but the opportunity arose since we have these valuable watches that we have currently in stock. So it's about the top 10 most valuable watches we have in stock right now. Of course, this shifts a lot. Usually we don't have them here in our lounge. However, due to an exhibition that we have tonight, we have them all here side by side. Hence, we decided to make this video. But I will give you some more in-depth knowledge about these watches, why it makes them so valuable. So it's not just a thing about prices. Of course, the value is in something else. It has to be reflected in the price, unfortunately. And we're starting off with the watch I'm wearing myself. This is number 10, priced at 79,000 euros. It's a Patek Philippe anti-magnetic, also known as the A-magnetic, 3417. This is like Patek's take on the Milgauss or geophysic from Gerald Genta, if you will. Of course, the 1950s brought in a new spectrum of professional fields, including people who needed anti-magnetic watches, and this was the most elegant solution you can find. Reference 3417 comes in different variations. This is a 4 series. They also come without the A-magnetic on the dial. Obviously, those are less appealing because look at the font, it's just so beautiful. Also, size-wise, it looks quite contemporary due to quite a serious circumference in the diameter of the watch and a very big dial, very small bezel. Rather sporty look, yet still classy, still has a Calatrava style to it with the applied 12 and the decentral seconds. It makes for a perfectly balanced, sporty dress watch, if you will. So 79,000 euros can also get you a totally different watch from a different brand. Audemars Piguet 25751 PT. That's a reference you probably don't know. It's in the Huitième line, which is quite an odd bird. The Huitième really didn't take off. They made multiple variations, all having this case size and this layout, this design of the dial and the case. This one, however, is a very special example. It was sold in the past for over 100,000 euros, but I feel 79,000 is more a reasonable price in my humble opinion. Unfortunately, the previous buyer had to lose some money there. He took a small haircut. But this example is only one of 6 known in platinum and one of 3 known with the platinum bracelet. Of course, it's quite hefty, not only the price tag, but 250 grams. The blue dial is very appealing. The way the bracelet is made is just spectacular. And I feel like 79,000 euro is a steal. It's quite cheap. Of course, this is very hard to justify for a watch with this price tag. But if you take in for the complications, perpetual calendar, chronograph function, it is in platinum, it is with a blue dial, it has a bracelet. I mean, if you take a look at the Patek Philippe offerings in this category, you're gonna end up with quadruple times the price. Yet we do have a Patek Philippe that's only priced slightly higher at 90,000 euros, coming in with one of the most important Calatravas, if not the most important, reference 2526. Why I feel like this is one of the best Calatravas in the world is discussed in a 12-minute video or 15-minute video on our KOV channel, one of the first one we ever did. Of course, we're talking about a double-baked enamel dial, but this dial isn't just a regular enamel dial, if you can say something like that. It is a beautiful dimple dial, pristine condition, with a retailer-signed Italian one, Gobbi Milano, at the 6 o'clock position at the top of the decentral seconds, and it has the beautiful Gay Frere bracelet still attached to it. One of the most beautiful dress watches you can find, a very appealing one, and we're happy to have these because we don't have 2526 that often. We just sold a pink gold one without the bracelet, but they're hard to find in great condition, and this one certainly is in great condition. We're going to move over to a Rolex. The first Rolex in our list is a Day-Date. We don't have any stone dials at the moment, nor do we have any Stella dials. Usually they're included in the 100K plus category too, but we sold them all, unfortunately. Yet we still have this very niche product. It's a Day-Date. It is in pink gold, which is quite rare. It was discontinued after 1978 as a whole, the use of this metal with Rolex, up until 1999, so 2 decades without any pink gold ones. This is a Day-Date in pink gold, reference 1803, with a pink gold riveted oyster bracelet. That alone is quite rare, but the dial is where the punch is, because this is a guilloche dial. They're very scarcely produced, probably on request. You should include, I'm looking to Dario, you should include the close-ups of this dial, because you can see how finely it's crafted. It's spectacular. I'm a big fan of the 1950s and 1960s and even 1970s Day-Dates because of the craftsmanship, and this pipe and dial with doorstop markers proves why they're so appealing and so romantically produced in such a fashion that really emphasizes craftsmanship and aesthetics over functionality. It doesn't have a quick set. Of course, it's caliber 15XX, so that came only in 1978, but we value it for the rarity, for the aesthetics, for the history, not because of practicality. If we're looking at practicality, Rolex is oftentimes discussed because it's one of the most practical watches, and they steer away usually, by the way, the price of that watch was 98,000 euros. We're going over the 100K now. Rolex is usually praised for their practicality and no-nonsense watches. Yet this watch proves it can also be the opposite. We have here the Padellone, reference 8171, which is one of the most complicated produced Rolex watches. The Padellone doesn't come in an oyster case, but in a 38mm measuring case, hence the name Padellone, which is frying pan because it's so unusually large for its period of production. 1940s and 1950s, and this is a steel example with a oyster bracelet attached to it. Quite cool, priced at 159,000 euros, but it isn't the most complicated Rolex we have to offer, because of course this is a triple calendar with a moon phase, but how about a chronograph with a triple calendar? We're talking about Jean-Claude Killy, reference 6036, also executed in steel, beautiful variant with the French date disc and day disc, also the French writing on the dial, so it says chronographe with an E at the end, and at the bottom side it says anti-magnetique instead of anti-magnetic. Also the bracelet is French produced Gay Ferrer bracelet, says on the back side Super Gay Flex, so that's the name of the bracelet, but it's a pretty rad watch. Now over to a truly iconic and sporty piece, one of the most prominent designs that saw the light of day in the last half a century. Of course, it's a Gerald Genta watch. I don't need to discuss all the backstory of this watch, because if you follow us, you already know about everything. But it's a 3700 in yellow gold. This one is priced at 180K, just like the Jean-Claude Killy that I just showed you, at the same price point. Yet this one is crafted in yellow gold. Doesn't really feature any complications apart from the date function, but of course it's very iconic. This one wears rather sleek because it's the Dash 11, which is the second execution after the Dash 1. This one has a more tapered bracelet which really hugs the wrist, so this personally has my preference. It's a little bit less clunky, if you will. Extremely appealing example with the original bracelet. I have to say, by the way, I think it's priced at 185. The Jean-Claude Killy is 180, this is 185, but I'm not 100% sure. Regardless, it's definitely worth every penny, because this example is still pristine and it really needs no introduction. It's just such a stunner. If you wear this watch on your wrist, you definitely will not go unnoticed, and it is something totally different as opposed to a 5711, even though of course that's the successor of it. This watch truly sets the bar very high, and if you compare both, you can probably understand why I prefer vintage. Now we're going to take a leap over from 180K towards the 239,000 euro mark. This is not the only Milgauss we have. I'm a big avid collector, I would say, of the Milgauss, at least an enthusiast. but this is the only one for sale. This is the 6541. You can compare it with the 3417, both anti-magnetic watches from the same period, yet totally different. Obviously, this one has a rotating bezel, case diameter that's quite larger, and secondly also very thick due to the oyster case, and the dial, the honeycomb dial, is most important here because it has a beautiful aging towards a tropical brown color. Very, very nice. All original configuration. So this one landed in our collection quite recently. We're very happy and very pleased to have it, so we can also offer one instead of just me hoarding them. Now over to one of the best watches in my humble opinion, and I've been an advocate for the 3970 for quite a while. You can also see my early articles I wrote about it. There wasn't that much knowledge out back then. Of course, I tried to make some additions to the scarcely available information, but also it was less important. And I made a video telling the people why this watch on my KOV channel is worth way more than 100,000 euros. And I think the video is now 5 years old, and the market price then was around 100K. But now, unfortunately, they go for a staggering 300K plus, this one specifically. One just sold for 400,000 euros. But what's so special about this 3970? Because true, you can also get one at 120, 130,000 euros, yet you can't get it in this metal, being white gold, which is way more rare than the yellow gold or the pink gold variants. But secondly, this is a second generation one, and the second series has the baton markers and the leaf hands. It has a nicer font, a nicer moon face and disc, and this specifically has a very cool feature at the top right lug. This is the big hallmark, and I've had a similar watch 5 years ago, I would say. And then I thought it was the only 3970 in white gold second series with a big hallmark, but this is the second one we've uncovered, and we're very happy to have this. But unfortunately, the prices kind of rose in the meanwhile, so I can't offer them anymore at prices of 120 to 180K. But if you're a true collector and you understand the value of this watch and the potential this watch still has, this definitely is an opportunity you should hop on. Lastly, we got a iconic Rolex Daytona Paul Newman, but if you want to hear and see all about this watch, the price point is 365,000 euros. You have to watch our previous video because I'm wearing the watch in that video. I'm explaining all about it. So I hope you liked our top 10 most expensive watches. Again, my apologies for the less elegant title and subject, but I hope I got to give you some insights of these watches. So of course, to each their own. It doesn't necessarily require a huge bank account to get some very nice and unique vintage watches. Unfortunately, some of them come with a hefty price tag. We might also do a video of the 10 most expensive watches we've ever sold, because none of them would even make it to our top 10, historical top 10, but let's wait for that for a while. If you do want to see it, make sure you comment, and I hope you appreciate the video, and I'll see you back for the next one. Cheers.